Today we're going to be taking a look at springfieldbiblechurch.org. We're going to be taking a look at how to use the WordPress components of the website so that we can make changes, add new events, pages, etc. And it should be a fairly simple process, and at the end of it all, you'll probably still have some questions, and that's fine, and you can let us know anytime. Send us a text, email, or give us a call, and we'll help you out. springfieldbiblechurch.org/wp-admin is the place to start. You'll have a username and password, and you can log in here. You'll see this dashboard, and it's full of all sorts of information that you don't need at all. So you can ignore everything in this area here, but over on the left side, then we have all the important parts of the website, and we will go through these and make sure that you understand each part of it, and some of them will go into great detail, some of them will be a little bit more of a brief overview, but by the end you should have a good idea of how to make any changes that you care about the most. So we have home up here, and then we have updates. And under updates, we don't have anything that needs to be updated right now, but sometimes there will be plugins or themes that need to be updated, and you can do that yourself, and that's fine. But we also come in every couple of weeks and do that for you, as well as a site check where we go through the site and make sure everything's functioning basically as it should. And so we'll take care of that for you. If you ever do it on your own, you can do that, and it works out fine most of the time. Every once in a while there's a problem that comes up, and if there is, we'll come in and fix it for you as well, and you can just let us know. We have post here, and posts are not used on this website, but they could be at some point if you want to add a blog component to it. And if you ever do that, we'll go through this in a little bit more detail, but most of how you use a post is covered in the training for how to use a page. They're almost exactly the same from a user standpoint, so you can just go and take a look at the pages component, and you'll be able to understand mostly how to use a post. We have events here. We want to take a look at the events functionality, and we can click on all events, and we have everything that's been created so far, but we want to add a new event now, and so we're going to have a 4th of July celebration, and we'll do it on Sunday night, this coming Sunday night, July 3rd. And so we just go through here, pick out the 3rd, and it's going to be a nighttime celebration. We'll have it from 7:30 until 10:30. Enough time for fireworks and good food. It's in Chicago time zone, which is a good thing because that's where you all are. Should be on that by default always. You can make this repeat so that then every year you're having the same celebration happening. You wouldn't necessarily want to do that for this, but for some weekly occurrences you might want to. And we probably don't want to celebrate 4th of July every week, even though it's a perfectly fine event. Event location details. We're going to say that it's going to be at Springfield Bible Church. And I believe that you all are at 2145 East Grand, and that's in Springfield, Missouri. I believe that's where the church is. Haven't been there, but I think that's where it is. Looks about right to me. And if it's not, I'm sure you all will know. We don't have any tickets, just a free thing for people to go to, but you could set up some sort of ticket system if you wanted to. Contact name, we'll just make it mine, and my info here too. And we've got all the basic information in here now, but we want to have a description of what's going on as well. And so down here, then you can just type everything you want about what's going to be going on there. This is going to be a wonderful time. And here is what you can expect. You can make a little bulleted list there. Fireworks, snacks, good times, etc. Everything's set up there nicely. Setting up a featured image can be a good idea. If you want to go and grab a picture of some fireworks, you can. Right now I don't have any on hand, I don't think. So we'll just put a picture of chicken on there instead. Oh, sorry, that's salmon. Looked at it too quickly. You can click preview at any point on this and on most other components of the website to see what it's going to look like. 4th of July celebration, we've got all these things going on there. Looks okay. And so we're going to click publish. We'll take this off here in just a moment, but we want to show how once you click publish, then it's going to show up on your list of events that are coming up right here. And so now we have a 4th of July celebration. If you go to the calendar, it's also going to be on there, although this is for June, so we need to go over here to July, and it's on there. You can click on it, and you come right back to that event again. pretty simple to get those set up. If you ever need to get rid of them, you just click on Move to Trash. When something goes to trash, then it's still available to restore if you need to. In this case, then we don't need to restore it. We just want to delete these forever. We definitely don't want to clone them. There we go, delete permanently, and those ones there are all gone now. And so now we only have these legitimate ones, and then we also don't need a new event, I suppose. Over here, then we have a few other options under events. Most of them aren't terribly important. We have calendar themes where you can pick out something different if you sign up for a pro version of this. Under theme options, we have all the colors, and you can change those colors if you would like to at some point. For the most part, they're looking okay as they are right now. I was wanting to change this yellow though, because I'm just not a fan of light yellow. So let's keep it the same shade, but then change it over to blue. And we click Save, and I think that's going to look better. Settings. We've got a few things here that you can adjust. Right now it's set so that on desktop the default is to be on the month view, and for mobile it's on the agenda view, but you can set that up to be something different. You can change how many events per page there are on the agenda. A few other settings, you can go through there and check them out. They're mostly pretty self-explanatory. And under advanced, then they really are advanced, and they really aren't something that you need to worry about too much. Widget creator is not something you need. Ticketing is not something that you need to worry about. So that should be pretty much everything for the events section. It's fairly self-explanatory. Just add the events as you want to, and the more events you have on there, then probably the better it's going to be. Fill out your calendar and show a nice lively looking church calendar. We have media down here, and under the media section, then this is media. So documents, photos, videos, anything of that sort that you upload to the website would go here. And you could access them here. You could upload them directly here. Most of the time you're not going to. Usually it's going to be directly within a post or a page that you're going to be doing anything like that. So it won't generally be a place you find yourself very often. But you could do it through here if you wanted to. It's your choice. Now we have forms. We want to take a look at forms, and we have just one for the website right now. Let's just take a look at that, see what we already have set up. This is a form that just asks for name, email, subject, and message. And we have a few other fields over here that we can use. We could say, are you already a member? Are you a member of our church? And down here you have first, second, third choice. We only need two because it's yes or no. Yes, no. You can make it required. You can choose what size you want it to be. Over here you can even get into some fancy stuff where you have a default value, or you can have conditional logic where this only shows up if they've done something else. If you ever make any changes over here, then the natural thought would be that preview would allow you to see that. Let's make sure this is not changed. We just had an update to this. It'd be great if today it finally changed. Nope. So see, we changed that over to name 1, but it just says name, right? So the only way to actually preview it is to update the form and make it live on the website. Just be aware of that so that you can know if you're ever making any changes to this that that's a bad system they have set up, but it's still by far the best form system out there, and it's going to work very well for you overall. Once you make all the changes you want to make over here, you click Update Form. You can also make changes to other parts of the form. That's for the form itself there. But over here, under Settings, we have a form title. That doesn't show up necessarily on the page, but it lets you know what it's going to be called. At the bottom, then right now we have Send Email, because I believe that's maybe how it was set up on the old one. Normally that's not what we would have set up on that part there. Let's go Send It, because that's more exciting. You want to always enable anti-spam honeypot and enable animations. The anti-spam honeypot makes it so that anything that would normally be submitting spam is tricked into checking a box that says, I'm submitting spam. And so then you end up with many fewer fake submissions. Confirmation is what is shown to the person after they have submitted the form, and so they just see it right there on the screen. Right now it says, thanks for contacting us, we will get in touch with you shortly. And you can change that to say whatever you want, make it more friendly. You can add in images here. You can just click on it and then your image will load. There we go. And you can just insert that right into the post as a part of it and make it nice and friendly, welcoming from the pastor there. Notifications down here are not what go on that page after you submit it. Instead, they are emails that go out to you, and they could also go out to the person who submitted the form. They at least will go out to you, and right now they're set up to go to the admin email, which might be going to my email address right now. We'll have to check that in a bit, but we haven't had anything come through just yet, I don't believe. And you can set it up to whatever email you want, though. You can just have it go to anybody at all, and then once you make any changes there, you can click Update, and it will be updated. Over here we have entries. Let's see, and then this is all junk. No, it's not all junk. Here we go. So we didn't have that anti-spam honeypot thing set up yet, which we should have, and so we have a couple of spam things in there, but this one is legitimate, and my guess is that it did not go to you all as it should have. So if that is the case, I apologize, and we will work on that and get it fixed up and make sure that you get this entry. Under settings, there's nothing really that needs to be changed for gravity forms. Import, export, updates, add-ons, nothing too much that you need to worry about. If you ever get to a point where you want to create a form where there are payments, let us know and we can help you get that set up. It's very simple to do, but it's not set up for that right now. But if that time comes, let us know and we can work with you on that as well. Now we are going to take a look at pages. Let's click on all pages here to start with, and you can see that we have every page from the website, except we don't have the home page, because the home page is not controlled through this section. Everything else is, but not the home page, and not the calendar page or the sermon page, I suppose, either exactly. They're a little different. But most pages are controlled through here. And if you want to take a look at a page that is already created, let's click on About Us. Oh, that's not the page we're actually using, is it? The church is what we're using here. There we go. There we go. Let's fix that right there. Don't worry about that part. Looks like we have a little bit of change that's happened here since I last saw this. It's probably supposed to be dispensational, I bet, there instead. Dispensational makes a lot more sense in that context, so I imagine that's right. Okay, so we have an image up here at the top, we've got a heading, we've got some text. If you want to come in here and make changes, it's simple enough. We just type whatever we want. You can make it so that things are highlighted, so that they are different colors. You can make links within these things so that they can be going to other places like google.com, in case you're passionate about that. We can add in new images within this text as well. You always just click Add Media, and we have a lot of different options to choose from photos that have already been uploaded to the website. But we're going to go back to our friendly salmon. We're going to say we want this to be a medium size, and we're going to make it left aligned. That means it's going to float to the left and the text will wrap around it. And now let's take a look and see. And then we look here and we see, does that salmon really reflect who we are as a church? And the answer is probably no. We need it to be bigger, right? And so then we can change it up to full size. Or if you want to make it a very specific size, you can. Or if it just needs some extra adjusting, you can do it through here as well. So we're going to say we want it to be 500 pixels wide. Doesn't matter if you know what a pixel is. Just keep adjusting that number until it looks better to you. There we go. It's starting to look better, isn't it? And so now we have a nice friendly piece of salmon over here to go along with our orange text and our link to Google. Click on that, it just takes you right over there to Google. Everything's starting to look good. But let's say we wanted to add a form to this page as well. Then what we could do is click Add Form, and then we select the form that we want. We're going to go with Contact Us. We don't want the form title on there right now or the form description, but we are going to click Enable Ajax because it makes it a little smoother in theory sometimes. And so we click Preview Changes, and we see that where we have that little short line of code over here that just says this little bit right there, and instead on the actual page we get a whole bunch of it right here, don't we? And now we have that there. Then after a while you get into this and you get to thinking, you know, this is not really quite what I had in mind, and this is actually looking much worse than what it did in the beginning, and that would be a reasonable thought to have. If you just leave this and you don't click Save, then it's gone, and all the changes we did right then they're not saved. They're not saved right now, and so if we were to go back, none of them would exist anymore. They do exist on this page here, but if we were to go to the church, then we would find that there is nothing there at all that has happened from our changes. If you want to add a new page, you click Add New, and you simply type in the title for the page that you're wanting to have. Down here, you add any content that you want. You can have headers, and so you can make them be a different size than everything else. And you can just experiment and see what looks right. You click Preview and you say, yeah, that looks about right there. Okay, we can have headers. Okay, maybe we want a bigger header yet. Maybe we want to have an H1 header up there. Let's see what happens with that. Alright, so that's even a bigger one above that. Or you can just have normal paragraphs. But instead of a normal paragraph that's completely normal, let's make it bold and italic. There we go. And we want to have an image underneath there. We already saw that before, but let's do it one more time. We'll move away from our salmon this time because I'm getting full. I'll just put a little picture of the Bible there instead. And just a little one there right now. And there we go. You can make things be aligned toward the center if you want to. And I just selected everything there with Control A or with Command A, depending on whether you're using a PC or a Mac. And now it's all in the center. We have tags over here on the side, and we have some categories. None of those things really matter for you. The page attributes, you don't want to change the template to something else on this. SEO settings aren't probably terribly important for what you're doing right now, so that should be good. And when you want this to be live, you click Publish. Now just because it's live doesn't mean it's in the menu here anywhere, and so we'll deal with that in a little bit of how you get things up there in the menu. But we can make it live, we can click Publish, or we could say, let's save a draft, and we're not quite done with this yet, we'll work on it some more later. Or you could make it so that it's published, but it has a password required to look at it, or you can make it private where you have to be logged into the website to look at it. But for right now, we're just going to move it to the trash, and remember when we move something to the trash, it still exists, it needs to be deleted permanently for it to go away permanently. And so we click Delete. That's all we have there right now. We have some categories set up over here, but they're not things that you need to worry about too much. And we aren't going to be using any tags. So that's most of what we have going on for the pages. Relatively self-explanatory. If you ever have trouble, let us know. We can help you out, of course. We have comments down here. We shouldn't have any because they're disabled on the website. We have Foo Gallery. Foo Gallery is an image gallery system, and we have it for the children's page, and I believe we're actually using it. Let's take a look and make sure. Oh, I guess we're not. Oh, I know what it was. It was on Awana we ended up using it, wasn't it? Yeah, even though it says children there, it was actually Awana, so that was a bad name for it. Let's change that over to Awana so we don't get confused. There we go. You have some settings you can adjust down here. I would suggest you just play with these if you ever want to. We've got several different basic templates and then some individual settings on them. And right now it looks fine as it is, although I'd say that could stand to be a little bit bigger, in fact. Let's make that a little bit bigger right now. We'll make the thumb size a little bit higher, and we'll make the row height a little bit higher. And we're going to click Update. Let's try to see if that looks any better. We're just experimenting, not because we have an exact plan of how to make this look. We're just trying out different numbers. And that looks a lot more full, doesn't it? That looks good. So we're going to leave it like that. And if we ever want to add more images, we click Add Media, and we can go through here and we can click on whichever images we want. And the nice thing about the Justify gallery we have on there right now is that it will just make them all fit in there real nicely no matter what. And this is responsive so that those photos will move around in a nice way regardless of what size you're at. If you get very wide, then it starts to get a little bit messed up just because that's not the way people typically look at their computer screens. But everything's updated on that. If you want to add a new one, you click Add Gallery, and you just name it, and then you can click here, and you can select whatever images you want, and then you click Add Media. Once you get them added, and you publish them, then you have this little shortcode over here, And we didn't do anything with these settings, by the way. We're just leaving them for now because it's just an example. Then you click on it and it's copied. So you could just do it this way. And you could just say, let's create a new page that has this on there. And you could just paste it in there. And it will work that way just fine. But there's no need to do that. What you can do instead, and so that is loaded up there, see? But what you can do instead is you can just be right within this and click Add Foo Gallery, and then you can select whichever one you need. And so this time we're selecting Name. And it's the same thing as the other, but it's a simpler way to do it. We don't need this page, so we are going to delete it, and we don't need this gallery, and so we are going to delete it as well. We have a few things over here for settings, but nothing that really should matter too much. Everything should be okay on that. Now, we come down here to sermons. We'll take a good look at this. This is something that's going to be used regularly, I'm sure. It looks like it's already been used, because I don't think that I added that one in there. No, I don't think so. Nope, and I didn't add that one in there either. Oh, it has the number of views on here too, which is interesting. So people are actually starting to come onto this website, which is nice. Looks like you mostly already know this. Let's go through here and make sure that everything is understood. So you add in the title of the sermon up here, the date in which it was preached. We don't have any service types added right now, but you could do that over here. Let's open this in a new tab. And so you could make there be morning and night, and then you could make it so it's set to one or the other if you have more than one time you're recording these. Main Bible passage is Revelation 15. Now something to keep in mind is that when you type it in here, it's really just the words, and it doesn't do much for functionality. You want to also add in for Book of the Bible. Down here, you want to add in Revelation. And it looks like that hasn't been done yet on any of these. That's okay. So we have Revelation down there. Location of the MP3. Looks like you've done that correctly. You just click Upload and then it will go there. And you might notice that it's saying that it's on AmazonAWS.com. We have it set up so that these files go over there. Sometimes the MP3s can be a bit of a high load on our server otherwise, and so we have them go to Amazon, and they just do that automatically. You don't need to worry about it. You can set the duration if you want to, but you don't need to. It will just do it automatically. If you have a video to go along with it, you can put the embed code there. You can upload a document with sermon notes, and that would be great. You can give this a topic if you want to, like holiness would be a reasonable topic, something of that sort. Characteristics of God, looks like you added that to the series, which is wonderful, and the preacher has been added. Let's click Update, since we added in the part with having the Book of Revelation there. Everything should be okay with it. Now, let me see something here real quick. Yeah, and we're starting to have the same image for all of these right now, and I don't know that we want to do that necessarily. It would probably be better if you don't want to try to find an image that is fitting specifically for the sermon. It would be better to have no featured image at all, and that looks okay. Let's go down here and we can look at that. We'll go to page 4. I think that looks better to have no image at all than to have the same image again and again. So it's probably better to do it that way, except we have that sermon thing on the home page, don't we? And so you must have that there. Well, that means you'll probably want to be finding images that are varied for that. If you really don't think that you can get those images each week like that, you could also have it be that you just go out and pick out 4 or 5 that look like they're good generic ones and then alternate which ones you're using. I guess you could do it that way instead, but it'd probably be good to make some sort of change to that. Okay, so over here we have all these other options of how to add things, preachers, topics, and series and all that, but you can also add almost all those things through here. The only one you can't is the service type, and so then that's the only one you have to come over here for and add something specifically for it. Under settings, there are a few things you can change. I don't know that these really are things you would ever be interested in changing too much. For verse pop-ups, we've got it set to KJV right now. I'd say at a church named Springfield Bible Church, then KJV is probably a good default. And you're not doing a podcast out of this, and so everything else should be okay. And once you add a sermon, then it shows up everywhere it needs to on the website, within our little slider right there, and then it also shows up inside on the sermons page. And I don't think we have any sidebars, right? So there's nowhere else. Actually, I guess it would be showing up necessarily. Those are the places that it should be. Yeah, that's all. So those are the sermons, and they're fairly simple to use. Keep in mind that part of the featured image, where you probably don't want to use the same one again and again, that's probably not ideal. Down here at Genesis, we have some other settings that can be changed, nothing that you probably need to really worry about too much. And under Appearance, then we don't need most of these, but then Widgets is important. It controls the header and the home page and the footer. I think that maybe that's it on this website. So for the header, then we have this set up a little differently than most sites, because as a part of the header we have a slider, and you'll notice that then there's no slideshow going on here, but there is here on the home page. And so the reason we've arranged this a little differently is the slideshow goes above what would normally be in the header section, the menu and the service times and contact us there. So then we have this revolution slider up there, and you don't need to do anything to this part right here except for have the slider be chosen, and that's home page, so nothing else really needs to change. It's set so that it only shows up on the home page. We don't want it to be anywhere else, so the name of it is home page, and then it's showing up on the front page, which is this right here, and any other page it will not show up. We have a custom menu here, and so all that means is we've chosen for there to be a menu here, the About Us Ministry Sermons. That is called Home-Nav. You don't need to do anything else to it except for be sure that you have the right one selected. It's also set to only show on the home page because it's a little bit different than the one that shows up on the inside, right? So here we have just About Us Ministry Sermons. On the inside, then we have several more categories that pop up because we don't want to make it go way down on this section here. People are here for the purpose of content, so we want to try to make that a little more compact. Then we have this image here, and it's just the logo. If you ever want to change out the logo, just click on Choose Image, and you can change it out. It would be good to keep it a relatively similar size to what this is. It doesn't need to be the same. It doesn't need to be 1,000 pixels wide. That's much wider than it needs to be. But it just needs to be that it's the same ratio roughly. And it might work fine anyway, but it might not. It's going to be kind of close. So probably if you keep it the same ratio, you'll be better off. Although that's a new logo, so you won't be changing it anytime soon, probably. So we have here also our other menu. This is the inside menu. This is the one that's up here on this spot instead. And these things here, you probably don't need to make many changes. Really, it's only the logo that you might be changing at some time, and everything else is not controlled directly through here. So these menus, you don't change the menu items through here. You do that under menus on this side, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Primary sidebar, secondary sidebar, we don't use. So home top, we have this these things called Visual Editor. So we have Sunday morning, and that's what goes on the home page here. And it says Sunday morning, Bible classes, 9:30 a.m. Well, there it is, Bible classes, 9:30 a.m. Worship hour, 10:30. So if you want to change the text that goes in here, you can. If you want to add something else into there, you can. You can add anything you want in there, not just more text, but you can add an image in there as well, or a gallery. However you want to set that up, you can make those changes. And when you make them, you simply click Save, and then they show up there on the page. Next we have this here, and it doesn't have a title because on this next section, when it jumps down into this stuff, then we don't want words above it, so it's left blank. And then we have this little short code here from WP Tiles, and I will take a quick look at WP Tiles. For the most part, you're probably just going to want to keep them the same. If you have more questions about that, let me know, and I'm happy to help out, but I don't think it's going to be worth trying to get into too much at this moment. Home middle, then we have this part here that says welcome, and it has a little welcome message. Change the text as you want. Once you're done, click Save. In the bottom, we have this sermons part here, and it's a little sermons slideshow down there at the bottom. And then we have this part called subfooter left. I need to change the name of that really, because it's not on the left. And so we have Bible study, and it says image there because this is a little image widget. And so we have Bible study, and you can change that out to something else if you want there to be a different image in that spot. And then we have a link that it goes to, which is the Thursday night Bible study, because that's our featured one that we have on there right now. and then we have a little description of it, and it only shows up on the home page. And then we have the, there we go, I lost my place for a moment. Then upcoming events, these are the events that are coming up. We have the next 6 are going to show up on there. And this only goes on the home page. I'm going to have the calendar show up there, a calendar view button on there. You can make a few other adjustments to this if you want to, but I don't think that you'll be needing to make too many. We don't have a subfooter right. For footer 1, then we have the map where it says join us, and then we have underneath it the address and then a menu. And so here are addresses here. If you ever need to change your address or phone number, there it is. And then underneath that we have the footer menu. And we don't have anything in 3, 4, or after entry. After entry means after a post within the website, and sometimes after a page, depending on how you have it set up. If you want to add more features from over here, you can. These are all different little tiny pieces of functionality. You just click on it and drag it where you want it to go, and then once it's there, you can set it up how you want. If you're just wanting to add text onto the page, then the best place to start is Visual Editor, and it's just like a post, just like a page. You just type in whatever you want. If you want to delete something, you delete it. There's no trash in this case, though. Once you delete it, it's gone, and you'll have to start over if you've gotten rid of something. These things are all set up to be styled correctly here on the page. If you start to rearrange them, some of them might work fine, and other ones will not work so fine. So if you're wanting to make any sort of major changes, then let us know, and we can help walk you through that, but it's not necessarily going to work just right off. Now we want to take a look at menus. And under menus, we have 3 different menus. Yeah, because you all don't have the social part. You didn't want that on there. So we have 3 different menus. Only 2 of them are ones we're using right now. Home-nav, so we have About Us, and then as a submenu, we have the church and the pastor. Ministries, and then underneath that, we have adults, youth, kids, Awana, and then we have sermons. And so that's what's showing up on the home page up here, these 3 things right here. It's very simple to add new items. So if we want to add nursery there to it, then we drag it where we want it to go, and we can have it here, and then it's a part of that submenu. You could have a sub-submenu. I don't know if I styled that correctly to make that work right now or not, but you could do that, and you can actually keep going and going and going. But you can also add it down here as its own new menu item. If you want to add things, that's fine. If you get too wide, then it's not always going to work perfectly. I think right now everything's mostly okay. I mean, we've got quite a bit of extra space here. You'll probably be all right. But on the inside pages, then it's not quite as simple. And so we go into here, and inside, I'm not going to save the changes there. And you see we've already got 6 on there. If we add a 7th, then there are places, like right here, a 7th would make it be too big, right? And so if you want to add a 7th, that's fine. It's not against the rules or anything. Just do it. When you do it, just let us know and we can make adjustments for that. And then we can make it all fit in there fine. But in the meantime, we want these to be as big as they can be so that they're easy to see, easy to control, easy to click on, all that. We have all these different categories you can get things from. These are the pages, which is what you're normally going to be linking to, but you can also link to a post or an event or a sermon or any other thing on this list here and have it be a part of this menu. Anytime you make a change that you want to keep, then you click Save Menu and it becomes live on the website. We have plugins down here. It's extra functionality you can add to the website, but you don't really need to do too much of that on your own. If you want to experiment, you can. Some things will work wonderfully, some things will work terribly, and so it's probably better just to ask us about it and we can point you in the right direction for what would make your website work the best and what the best plugins are to accomplish that if you need a plugin for it at all. The tools are not used. Under settings, then there's not much that you need to be doing. Maybe nothing. Under general, you can change it. Right now it says Springfield Bible Church rooted in love and the Word, and I'm not exactly sure where that phrasing came from. And if you want to change that, though, then you can, and that would be fine. Under WP tiles, then we see that we have some settings for these tiles. If you remember, that's what happens on the home page. And right there, these are the tiles here, okay? And so you don't do much with them from here. These change the colors and the opacity and some other elements of it. you probably don't want to mess with these too much. They already look fine the way they are. If you want to change something, you can change it, and that's fine. You can experiment with it. Under the grids part of it, then this sets up what it is that is going on with the arrangement of those tiles, and I think this is us right here, yeah. And use these letters to represent it, and then it makes it so that it splits it up in the right way. The more important part is getting it so that you have it within the widgets. We'll go back there for just a moment. That you have it within the widgets in the right way. There it is. And so it's a short code, and that means that you can make this by just knowing how to write this out, but you're probably not going to do that too much. We don't have a WP tiles thing in here, unfortunately. So if you're wanting to change this out, I suppose what you would want to do is go out here. So if you want to feature something other than those things here, and you can click WP tiles and it can make a shortcode for you. You want it to be that you're having these certain pages be on there. I guess select specific posts is how you do it. And so then you would need to find their IDs. It just gets complicated really quickly. I wish that was a little simpler, but that's the best way to be able to get that look that we were wanting to have on this website in that spot. So this is what we're going to do. If you ever need to make a change to which one you're wanting to feature, right now we have adults, kids, and youth. I don't expect you're going to be wanting to change that anytime soon, but if you do, then you can ask us and we will be happy to help. Now, in the meantime, if you want to change out what the wording is that's down there beneath it, then that's something that you can do on your own just fine. So let's go to adults, and you'll see down here that we have this place called excerpt, and that is what shows up in there. And then of course just the title of the page is adults, and so that's easy enough to be able to control, and you can make that change anytime you want to. We also have slider evolution. It controls the slideshow on the home page and the two slideshows on the home page. This is actually a slideshow right here, and even though you might not notice it too readily, it actually is moving just a little bit. We don't have multiple slides, but it is moving. If you ever want to change the image that's up there, then you can, and it's fairly simple to do. You go within this slider and then you click change image, and then you can make it into whatever you want. Let's say that you have a special emphasis on cooked salmon. There we go. Now you can click preview, and sometimes preview works well in here and other times it doesn't. This time it doesn't. So to actually make it be live, we would need to click save to be able to take a good look at it. That's what we would need to do. You have a pretty good idea of what it looks like there already. The reason this is moving is because we have Ken Burns enabled here, and so it scales in from 100 to 108, and from vertically it's up 10 and down to 0, and it does it over a very long time, so it's a very slow thing. When you first load the page though, then you'll see that a little bit. And you can see that Bible moving in a little bit. It's growing just a little bit larger. You also have this element here. Then it has an animation applied to it, and so it fades in and out. And so then we have the animation speed, and we have how much it takes, how long it takes to fade out. And you can also see those same things down here. And so then that's all the fade in time, and that's all the fade out time. But there's no other slide, and so then it never really fades out anyway on this. Not much you need to change here though. You can add more slides if you want to. We don't have a whole lot of settings in place for that, but you can do that and it would certainly work. If you ever want to have something else in that spot, then you can. If you ever think you want to change the size of the Springfield Bible Church logo there or something of that nature, you can do that as well. We're going to leave and not save these changes because you probably don't want salmon on your home page. That's more of an inside page sort of thing. We have our sermons here, and at this moment, you might have noticed as we were going through here, there was a bit of a problem with it, and it's this new thing that used to not happen with slider revolution, but it has been lately, where when we transfer things, then it doesn't do it quite right. And so, let's see what this is called. There we go. No. No, we had an image. That's what it was. It was an image that we inserted within this. We need to get those headphones back. They'll come up here in a moment. Don't worry. Or at least they should. There they are. And I need to insert those in there. because they didn't transfer over correctly for some reason, and I don't know why, but that's okay. We'll fix it. And now we can just click up here and make it be centered automatically like that, and that should be about the right size. Now, before we do make that change, we have this little square there that's not correct. And now it's looking much better, isn't it? There we go. That works. And so we save that, and it's good to go. You don't need to make any changes to what shows up in here. It does it automatically, and it's just done by pulling in the latest post title. And you can see there's a bunch of code inside here. You don't really need to worry about it too much. You can probably just leave that as it is forever. But if you ever feel like you need to make some sort of change to it, let us know, and you're probably better off coming to us, and we can walk you through how to fix that and make it work the way you want it to work. Now, we have WordFence down here, and WordFence is a security program that makes sure that your website is secure, and you can run a scan, and it will tell you if there's any malware, anything bad on your website, and usually it will say there's nothing. Sometimes it will say there's something and it will be a false positive, and sometimes it will be a legitimate problem. If you happen to notice something, you can ask us about it, but we also will be getting emails if there's something critical that happens. And so usually we will be knowing about it at a relatively similar time as what you would be anyway, or more often before, because you're probably not going to be checking in on this all that often. I'm running that scan right now. It should be just about done. And I don't know if I'm necessarily going to wait for it to get all the way done or not, because I'm sure the site is fine right now anyway. But right now we don't have any new issues popping up. If there were, then it would say problems found up there. A lot of other settings you can change over here. Probably not something you need to worry about too much. We have AWS, and that has to do with making it so that some of these files on the website are stored on Amazon instead of on our server, and that is a good thing for you and for us. It means that we can offer lower prices and that things will load faster and be more reliable. So it's good for you all the way around, but you don't really need to worry about it in any way. Just leave it as it is and you will be fine. Now we have WP Google Map, and that is being used right now for this part down here where it says join us, and I imagine we have a separate one here. No, in this case, because of the way they all line up together, we're just fine. So actually, it's just right there. That's the only one we have right now. And here we are. If you click on WP Google Map, you get nothing that's of interest. It's just a whole bunch of words. But then you can see that you can manage your maps down here. And then you can also manage your locations. And so if you're wanting to add a new place onto your map, then you would click that you want to add a new location. And so we could make it my house. And by my house, I mean really my house. This is where I live. And for some reason, it's not loading up right now. And it should automatically load that site. For some reason it's not. Something's down with Google's servers, I guess. So, not exactly sure what's causing that, but that's okay. And ordinarily then it will pop down and you can click on it and it will make it super easy. And then you go through, you add all the other information in here, city and state, and I guess actually that was supposed to just be the street address right there, huh? And over here, then you can make it so that the display window has a special little note that pops up, or you can redirect it to another site. And then you can make a marker category. It's like the little icon. And so if you want it to be the same as the Springfield Bible Church, you can, or you can make a new one under marker categories. Once you have that ready, you click Save Location, and then you can go to maps you already have and add any of those locations to it. And so down here we have our only one that's actually been saved, which is Springfield Bible Church, and it's checked. And then we have some other settings on here. We make it 100% wide. We have the map height be 490. We could make it taller. We could make it shorter, and that could work fine. Everything is set up on here the way it basically should be right now, but if you have anything you think you need to change, you can. And if you think you need to add a new map for some other place on the site, which would be fine, then you can make it a new map, and you can make it a different height and different width. You can zoom it in different amounts, change it from road to satellite to hybrid, go through all these settings, choose what you want to be on there, disable, enable, whatever features you want, click Save Map. Once you get your map saved, then there's a little shortcode here, and a shortcode just means a tiny little bit of code that does something bigger than what its length indicates. So we copy that, and let's say that we want to add the same map on the page twice. Well, then what we would do is we would paste it in there, and then we would click preview, and we should have the map there inside the text in addition to being down here, except for it doesn't actually play friendly when it needs to be two of the same thing on the same page, so it's not being friendly about that. But that's okay. We don't actually need to do that anyway. We're going to leave the page. And remember, these changes, we didn't save them, so they're not real. Everything's good on that page now. That's the end of the maps section, and that is the end of how to use the website. So that is pretty much everything that you need to know to be able to make basic changes to this website. If you have questions, we want to help. We don't want you to ever feel lost or frustrated. If you're having trouble, then give us a call, a text, an email, and we will respond and help you through whatever problems you might be having. And we hope, though, that this video will help you get to a place where you mostly know how to use the website. And if it does, then you should be on your way to having a website that you have full control over, that you can do wonderful things with for a long time to come.